What makes anything or anyone irresistible? What is that thing that you see, you feel, you look at, that you just can't take your eyes off of it, off of her, off of the offer? Drop in the comments below. What makes your high-ticket coaching offer, your highest value offer, irresistible to your best fit high-ticket coaching clients? Or what makes anything irresistible? Let me know. Hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Prosperous Womb. When women come into the Prosperous Womb and we're working together and God made me millionaires, one of the things we look at, one of the biggest things is obviously the offer. But before we get to the offer, before we get to the positioning, the pricing, the packaging, the messaging, the strategy, the sales, before we get to any part of the high-ticket sales conversation, we need to see if where we're going, our posturing, what we're doing, what we're midwifing, what we're birthing, what the Holy Spirit is leading us to, is that supporting the client and meeting the client at their next becoming. You see, the offer is not something that drags the client, promises the client to be great or whatever. It meets her in her new season of greatness. As a parent, as a wife, as a woman who wants to step into a new relationship and be married and joined with her one. As a mother, as a leader, as a new supervisor, as a businesswoman who's gearing up to start making $1 million months, wherever she is in her season, wherever God is leading her, does your high-ticket coaching offer meet her at her next becoming? This is one question I ask and invite clients to really meditate on and pray on and have supplication and thanksgiving and gratitude season with God before they dive into just throwing something together and 10xing the offer, 10xing their price because some coach said double your price or triple your price. That's fraud, and that's a lack of integrity. When you're partnering with the Holy Spirit, you are being guided because your highest level clients don't want surface level solutions. They want deeper service, an experience that gives them their most exponential outcome or results, not just return on investment, but who they're being at their highest level for that season. Clients come into the Prosperous Womb with their old offers, and we up-level those, but everyone is always focused on Egypt and what God did in Egypt. And it's like that. What I mean by that is that clients always look at the past. Last month I made $1 million. The last 7 months, this offer has worked and done this. Who cares about yesterday? Who cares about 5 minutes ago? God is doing a new thing. Can you not perceive it? Can you not see it? When you're being called into your new season, when you come into the Prosperous Womb, it's not because you want to make 7 figures. You're going to make 7 figures regardless. You're going to make 8 figures regardless. It's because God is calling you into a new season. Can you not feel it? And what that means is your clients are now invested in an identity of who God says they are. And that identity they're stepping into next is where that offer needs to meet them. Not the offer that was working 5 years ago, not the offer that made you 8 figures yesterday, but the offer that God has called you to step into today. That's the pre-sold offer. Your offer is irresistible because it doesn't solve a problem. It calls forth the divinity in your client. It calls out who God says she is in her marriage. And then she aspires and she sees herself in that outcome of transformation in your messaging. But it starts when you're midwifing and birthing those gifts. High-ticket sales begins with a midwife. It begins with a birthing. It begins with God's divinity inside of you. It doesn't belong on a template or a formula. It's not your sales page or your copy that sells. It's not your sales page that makes the offer irresistible. It's the offer that supports her in a frequency that allows her to see herself as the woman that God says she is. When she looks at your offer, does she see herself as that mother, as that woman? Or does she say, oh, in 6 weeks, I'll be that person? Your offer is what helps your messaging speak directly to her heart, to the essence of who God says she is. You know, that familiar feeling that makes her remember. That is what makes the offer irresistible. It's not your sales copy. It's because when she, for the first time, sees or hears something that allows her to remember who God already says she is, who God says she already is. That is the pre-sold offer. It reflects the strength of who God says, of the strength that God says she has. It reflects to her the grace that God says she has. It reflects to her the power that God says she has. It reflects to her the beauty that God says to her she has before she even starts to lose the weight, before she gets married, before she has the baby, before she does anything. The baby becomes the bonus. The husband becomes the bonus. The 7 figures becomes the bonus. Because the offer has already supported her. Not to make her something she's not to promise her something that she's not, but to support her to remember what she already is. So these are the things that we talk about as we midwife and birth that pre-sold offer. This is what makes the offer irresistible. It's what it confirms who God says she already is. She doesn't have to go become something new. She remembers who she is. Does your offer support her to create a sacred space and step into it? Look at your offer. Does it do that? And go to the presoldoffer.com to go deeper and find out how your offer relates to your client, what your client needs to see in that offer, to remember who she is, so you're not out there throwing out bonuses and trying to prove value. Go to thepresoldoffer.com. The link is below.